Haven't gotten to see the sun much here in Michigan throughout the winter, like most haven't. All the aerosolized particulate being sprayed by aircraft, produced by buildings on the ground, ships at sea, all combining to make gray skies. It looks like the Twilight Zone every day, or like we live in some kind of gay vampire movie. Anyway, like I said in my Revelation or a solstice video, that one that the sun will return. And yeah, it's a lot closer now on its path on the ecliptic. So of course, you know, it's time to plant seed physically, literally. And it may very well be a perfect time with all the nonsense going on. So I want to talk a little bit about that, I guess, real quick. Because, in a very literal, real sense, it'd be a great time to plant seeds. Fruits, vegetables, wherever you can, just grow food. Simple. That fills a need of life. Water being another one. Make sure you get clean, pure water, because the water is in bad shape out there. Other than that, you just need shelter. That takes care of the physical. But the spiritual sense, might not be time to plant seeds anymore in a spiritual type sense or mystical sense, anagogical, in the realm of the Most High, which I can't speak on, but it may very well be time of reaping, so to speak, just the way things look. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just a humble man here on the ground, on earth, sitting on the earth, just trying to convey a message. So, well, today it's being called the National Day of Prayer, right? But they don't mean pray, P-R-A-Y, when you're told that by another man like that on a massive scale, while they're trying to just run the fear programming into you deeper and deeper, just based off nothing but nonsensical belief. They mean pray, P-R-E-Y, as in you're their prey. So I hope I pray, P-R-A-Y, that men and women can simply snap out of it, so to speak. Snap fully into themselves, into a place of unity inside them, in their heart and mind, their psyche unified into that of just a humble man or woman on the face of the earth under the Most High, because that's what all of us are. So I say this with no more or no less authority than any other man or woman on the face of this earth, because we all had the same amount. That's the trick. For me though, being born into this world after 9 months in my mother's belly, well, she was already she was pumped full of military vaccines in the Air Force, and then I was born on the Air Force base, got pumped full of military vaccines when then she got out, and I moved to Michigan when I was young. And I wonder if that's why I never really fit in when I was young. I wonder if that's why I couldn't quite figure things out around me, what was going on. Things didn't seem to make sense, and I would just so easily shut myself away while I contemplated things, while the circus ran in my little head when I was young, my little mind. It's because I started out suppressed, like so many others. You don't have to be born on a military base. It's anywhere. You get pumped full of poison. So then you grow up in a state of shock. State of shock in a man or a woman kind of brings them to a lower state of animal, which is what they want. Puts you in a fight, flight, or freeze mode and mentality that just gets built and programmed over time. And that's how everyone's controlled. They teach you the food, water, shelter has to come from someone else's idea of exchange of energy in the form of currency, which everyone knows their currency, their very real only currency they have is the physical energy of their own mind and body and their physical work here in this physical and metaphysical journey that all of us are on. So That's what I pray for. I pray that folk simply heal from what's happened. Don't play the blame game. Don't give in to fear. Just simply clean the body and mind out of toxins. Get the toxins out, the physical and informational toxins, and stop consuming them. And stop bowing and kneeling to other men. And just simply stand. Stand up and say, no, I realize what's going on, and no more. No. Because for me, I'll tell you, and I've made videos on how I healed, switched my diet, this and that, the cannabis oil, how to make it, and I wouldn't consume any of their GMO crap that they're putting out now and toxifying who knows how, or at least stripping its medicinal benefits. So I've put up words about how I did it, not for me, not to gain anything for me. What I would gain out of this is if just everyone simply realized that they were just men and women, and they weren't this compartmentalized, fractured self they think they are. Because for me, what I've realized and what I've come back from, what I've healed from, my mind, my body, my spirit, with the vaccines, I've told my family, my loved ones, the ones I'm closest to, I had a feeling, and this was a couple months ago or earlier, so don't take this wrong. A feeling I had, though, I said, seems like this might be my last year here. Had to do with numbers and other things, and just a combination of feelings. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suicidal or depressed or any of this other stuff. It was just a feeling, so I said, I want to share it. I feel like this might be my last year. So here's a reason why, now that this is going on, talking about mandatory vaccines and all this, because I know they want everyone in the digital system, digital currency, and deeply, deeply poisoned and suppressed and damaged by these toxins, which will create the problem, the vaccines and the pills being pushed and all of it. So listen, for any of you that work out there in the healthcare industry, the military, wherever, I was one of you for 21 years. Military, I tried to do what was right, try to help. I didn't realize how wrong it all was. The whole thing, not your specific job, the whole system, within systems. It's all built on deception right from the start. From layers and layers of man's law to your birth certificate to being sold on the stock market to being cattle, it's all true. But that is all attached to a corporate fictional name that's bullshit. And that's the issue. So once everyone realizes that and just says, no, I'm going to start spending my energy with each other to help each other, not to cause harm, because I realize what's right and wrong, what has caused harm, and now I know how not to do it. It can be solved that simply. But let me say this, please listen. Forcible injections. I will not ever inject myself or allow my children or anyone I'm responsible for or around to be injected with that poison, because I know what it does. I know what it did to me over time, and it made me a psychopath. How do you think you get folks suppressed and fractured in their psyche so far that they look at their fellow man and woman as prey, as if they're a predator, or as if they are prey? It's a predator-prey mentality, and it's not right. It's what happens over time with the ingestion and injection of toxicity in programming. And it's how I grew up. So in that, I never grew up. I remained a broken child inside until I was 40, almost, right around in there when I crashed. So what I'm trying to say to you folks, that's what they don't want. They don't want someone like you to come to someone like me and try to force someone like me to take that poison or to accept your poison, because that would make a martyr out of me. Then they would have to spin the story and all this other stuff and make up bullshit. I would die upon that rock. I would not hurt the one there to do it. I have more in mind of some way of taking myself out of this physical life, of giving my life right in front of the one telling me to do such a thing to myself, or especially one I love or care for, child. I would take myself from this world right in their face to let in, before I do it, could calmly let them know that what you are doing is poison. What you are doing is what is going to drive me to take myself from this world, because you have to see the results of death and what can be caused with the simple injection of poison. Because you may have injected folk with poison your whole life, and many may have died, but you didn't witness it. And it's important that you witness the effects, the harmful effects of what can happen. Because I'm living proof of the harmful effects of what can happen, trying to do the right thing without ever realizing I was wrong, until you know what, until I was dealt with in a way I didn't know was possible, that I really, really needed. And I look at the sun, not to convey sun worship or worship of any aspect of creation within creation, because this is the Creator's creation, all of it, as are we. That sunlight is very important, though, to the healing process, I found, because when I was so full of toxins, I could not look at the light. It hurt. It burned. Over time of getting toxins out, I could take in the light, and it had a profound healing effect within. And that came along with getting the toxins out. So, now all that being said, please realize that no, I'm not crazy, not insane. I'm not a threat to myself or anyone else. I'm just not anymore. So I just really, I guess it usually ends up that it seems that I say these words for folks that will never see my face or hear my words or get the message I'm trying to convey. The very ones that could just simply stop what they're doing, recognize what's happened, and help stop all of this, simply by realizing they're a man or a woman, realize what they're doing, who they're doing it for. Maybe that's why I don't say too much too often anymore, because I also try to be very careful in what I say and how I say it, so I don't want to mess up anyone's journey inside. The journey that you have to think through and contemplate through and reflect through, your own journey, your own experience, your own life. Because for me, when I look back on my life, looking at how I lived, looking backwards on how I lived, and then I saw the devil that's lived in reverse, and I had to look back to see it and see how the devil had manifested within me, because that's what the devil is, and that's where the devil lives. The devil's just simply a part of creation. It's like a fungus that grows. It's addiction that grows inside. It's the part that bypasses the conscience and the heart and goes right from the bowels of your body to your mind and back and forth, and keeps you locked in a state of addiction and darkness that just grows and grows and causes disease in the heart. So that's all I'm trying to convey. Whatever I'm trying to convey. So anyway, thanks for listening.